Hello and welcome to another episode of the GameSwift Townhall. Together with me is one and only Pan Paragraf. I don't know why I read your name. I had to look at it, but I call you Wojtek, man. What's up? How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Like, what can I say? I'm fine. What can I say? It is a holiday season, but we keep working pretty hard. Welcome everybody on the chat. Mateusz K, Marcin Krogulecki, Hacks for Padliv, Artas, Bashan, NFT Drops. Oh my God, Jari, Spesu, Gustav, NFT Drops, Sukubaumi, Albara, when moon, when pump, probably everyone would like to know. Karo is expecting some burn. Miłosz Prukala, Block X. Guys, welcome everybody. Today we have a special guest, which is a special guest from Aethir. Aethir is one of the hottest upcoming projects in recent times, so we are very proud to have their team member on our podcast. In the meantime, probably you've been baited by our clickbaiting title. You probably know that we are cooking somewhere around the tokenomics. Daniel, Aditya, Michał, welcome everybody. So before we get Paul from Aethir on our stage, small introduction from my side. In the upcoming days, you might expect a special campaign regarding GSWIFT tokenomics. We want to fight for the better tokenomics. We are aware of what is troubling most of crypto investors right now, and it is actually the low circulating supply. Investors are a little bit afraid of the projects who have big difference between FDV to the market cap. And let's be honest with each other, when you take a look at GSWIFT, it is having pretty big difference between market cap and FDV. What's more, this circulating supply, even though our APY is showing this correctly, is not read well by CoinGecko. So there is a lot to do around this. And there will be 3 special upgrades around the tokenomics. One will be regarding, or maybe I'm not going to front run and reveal it before public announcement. But one thing is sure, our goal is to close the gap between FDV and market cap while burning the hell out of GSWIFT tokens. You might expect one of the biggest burning in the GSWIFT history. You might expect that we will approach much closer from the current market cap and circulating supply to the FDV, and it does not necessarily mean that market cap will grow exponentially. It is basically the substantial amount of upgrades will be connected with the upcoming burning. I know that you probably expect every single detail, like in numbers, in everything, but this will be part of our official campaign. I'm just a little bit front running it today, as that's our promise to make GameSwift Townhall viewers be one step ahead of the market. But I hoped that you appreciate that I've already told you a lot. Jacob, what do you think about it?
I think that you correctly addressed the issue, one of the biggest issues with both GameSwift actually at Star Heroes 2, which
With
is
the
this
whole
huge
crypto
gap
market, and that's
and the whole
that's
crypto
something,
market.
yes, and that's something what for example, Mais Deutscher, for example, commented on Twitter, and I am perfectly in line with him. Like that's one of the biggest challenges in the crypto market right now. Those projects are relying on a very low circulating supply. They are mostly VC invested. VC are pumping those tokens, then they're dumping. People are scary. They don't want to play this game anymore. and that's why we want to change it. Please remember that actually GameSwift is already 1 year. That's our 1 year anniversary soon, right? Or already. So it is already 12 months where a lot of GSWIFT tokens went into the circulation. We want to make it great again, like Spetsu said. Small reminder that we have today our special guest. So I think it's a great time to introduce Paul from Aethir. Paul, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm doing good. Hope you can hear me. Sorry, my camera's not working today.
Yes, we already agreed that it's not a problem since your profile picture looks pretty dope. Jacob, I'm moving on my microphone to you, so that's the stage is yours.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to ask you to remind me actually what actor you're similar to, because there's this one like action movies actor that looks like you, the legendary ones. It wasn't Van Gaal. You know what I mean or not? Pan,
See,
help
yeah,
me. Help.
yes, maybe.
What's the name of him?
I don't know. I don't get that very often, but thank you for for saying.
Yeah, another thing is that I'm a happy Aethir node holder myself, so I'm really excited to have you on board.
Excellent.
And yeah, it would be great, man, for you to remind all of us, actually, for both who have the nodes or don't have it, what Aethir is about. We got the general idea that you are supposed to make it possible to rent out your GPU powers for AI-oriented uses and also for cloud gaming. But how does it work, man?
Yeah, great. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for allowing me to come on to the
Steven
Townhall today.
Seagal, man, that's
There
it.
you go.
Steven
That's the guy.
Seagal. There we go.
Well, when you got long hair and you pull it back, I guess that's the only guy who was doing that. But yeah, essentially, yeah. I mean, we do harness basically underutilized GPU resources, right? So typically, the AI industry and gaming, with GPUs. I mean, a lot of GPU out there is only being used 10 to 15% in U.S. data centers. We redistribute this capacity to areas of higher demand. So essentially, this increases the global GPU compute availability. Aether, it is really the only enterprise-grade AI-focused GPU as a service provider in the market, and especially DePIN. Our decentralized cloud computing infrastructure, allows GPU providers with containers to kind of meet enterprise clients who need powerful GPU chips for professional AI ML tasks, cloud gaming. We have a growing network of 40,000 top shelf GPUs, including 3,000 NVIDIA H100s. We provide enterprise grade GPU, as I said, wherever it's needed and at scale. So essentially, yeah, I mean, a game developer can benefit by utilizing our cloud and our GPU. And essentially, we implement robust security protocols, so we protect the GPUs and the data they process with encryption, secure access controls, continuous monitoring, and to prevent unauthorized access. So essentially, the long and short of it is that a game developer, an AI app developer, can buy GPU at a much cheaper rate and utilize that for their experiments or for their games and allow users to have a very seamless user experience. As you know, with Web3 gaming, it's very clunky. User acquisition is very hard. There's a lot of friction. I think we facilitate that by allowing a game, whether it be a game built in Unreal Engine that needs a download, to be put on the cloud where all the processing power is done with our distributed GPU. And then the user will have a very clean and smooth experience to be able to get into a game right away. So in a way, it really is disrupting gaming, cloud gaming, and also disrupting the way that folks are buying and paying for GPU compute today.
Okay, and you said you're the only company that does it, or the biggest one?
No, I would say that our network, is probably the largest in DePIN, and and also we focus on enterprise grade GPU with tier 3 and tier 4 data centers. So security and essentially, that helps us meet our SLAs and uptime requirements, etc.
Got it. And could you just tell me the user story, like how, well, and actually, I guess it has to do with your token utility, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So what was the question specifically?
yeah, the user story. Like me, I would like to rent out my GPU with you guys. Is it possible right now? What do I have to do? How does it work?
Yeah, right now we do have a product called Aether Edge, but we have been focusing on enterprise grade GPU right now. So we're not at the kind of consumer or retail level yet. We will be, but essentially, we do have, like you said, you're a node operator. We do have a lot of transactional utility happening with the ATH token. So ATH is our, acts as our standard medium of exchange within Aether. We have demand side participants looking to purchase processing power, and they engage with node operators and compensate them with ATH for the compute power. So this is kind of how it'll start moving. We do have three main business model: AI applications, cloud compute, and virtualized compute. We have dedicated a large amount of the token supply to mining rewards, and that's a strategic play to fortify our ecosystem. But essentially, it's all about, yes, the contributors to the network. But yes, the idea is essentially you'll be able to provide your compute power. For right now, we've been obviously focusing the platform around the enterprise GPU, and then basically the node runners are compensated and rewarded based around checking that through our checker software and the nodes that they're operating, just to make sure that our uptimes are good. We can meet any MSAs and SLAs we sign, and really verify the integrity of the compute that we're putting on the platform.
Got it. So GameSwift is also an enterprise, as far as I know. So maybe let's move on to this thing. Like, what does this partnership mean for you? Why GameSwift? And actually, when our users could be able to provide their computational power to you guys?
Yeah. So I think GameSwift really shares our vision for decentralized Web3 gaming, making it more accessible and scalable. I think the traction has been really amazing. A lot of games up. What I do realize is that like we talked about, experiences in this can be clunky, right? And it's not the right operating system or the right platform or the right device that the user might be using. I think with Aether, we can empower that, so we can integrate our AI and GPU power, and essentially kind of harness that power to offer kind of win-win scenario for gamers and AI developers. So I think in regards to the partnership itself, there's a lot of synergy. I think we have kind of the we can certainly, in that first scenario, smoothly kind of facilitate instant play experiences and mass onboarding of users. At the end of the day, in the macroeconomics of gaming, we're kind of losing discoverability. Post-COVID, a lot of people are kind of sticking to the games they used to play, the big names. So it's really hard for a developer to break through, and a lot of cost and expense on UA. There's obviously in mobile, there's a big privacy issue. So, I think, with GameSwift, I mean, games requiring cloud services will be able to quickly access our decentralized cloud infra without kind of emptying their pockets. We do offer that at rates that are, 50, 60% cheaper than AWS, for example. So we're really trying to, we're trying to disrupt gaming, but at the same time, allow developers to exist. When you look at user acquisition costs, when you look at platform fees, all of these things are providing, you can see it in macroeconomics of gaming, and you can look at compound annual growth rate kind of slowing down. And I think that these are, the innovations that we together with GameSwift, could offer developers would allow a lot more people to play their games. On the other side, yes, I mean, the platform can allow users to join and then offer up their compute. That's kind of, to be done within an integration and looking at exactly how that would work. But yeah, that's kind of the roadmap for the two companies to explore. Because essentially this would be pretty fantastic, right? Like to offer up, to utilize the GameSwift community and give them rewards for offering up their infrastructure so that anybody can use it, or developers can use it also for. So I think that's where there's kind of two things there that are very interesting for us, at least, to partner with GameSwift at this time in the company's growth.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether, one thing is like renting out your computational power, and another thing is the user acquisition, the player acquisition. And as far as I understood from what you're saying, you're also going to help games like Star Heroes, for example, to reach out to new players, right? Through your platform.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, so we've created obviously a large community. There's a big gaming community involved with Aether too. We have several. We have a big Discord community. We have a big X community. So a lot of them are gamers, obviously, and that's a great thing for any new titles. But I think the biggest friction points that we're seeing, and we've talked to other partners about this too, is really accessibility, right? Like, and I was talking about discoverability earlier. It's very difficult for people to want to play. Obviously, there's a bit of a fear with Web3, downloads on different clients. We hear that from partners that we've worked with, or we're working with, like Magic Eden and others that have, a marketplace with trusted users, big community, but no games on their website, obviously. They send them to go download, install. And then the community's kind of, wondering if they should do that. I think what Aether provides, a platform or a portal like yourself, when you have games, is really reducing that friction, getting into the game right away, being able to play 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour. We've done that for quite a number of other studios, and the user acquisition side of this really is effective, meaning that people will come back, and you can really start increasing engagement. And obviously we know this, right? Like from just traditional gaming, that it's acquisition, engagement/retention, and then that leads to monetization. So I think if game developers can really start embracing a cloud gaming strategy, even for user acquisition, I think that's a big, powerful disruptor. And for for companies like GameSwift and obviously Star Heroes, I mean, we're very excited about the possibility to bring those to office or mobile devices. We've talked to a lot of Web3 developers that are very impressed with the fact that instead of download, install on a high-end PC, somebody could get in, a 10-15 minute session on an iPad, for example, using Aether. And that just opens up the market, right? I mean, I think gaming should be democratized. It should be accessible, and it should be inclusive. So if you look at all the markets, we always use the stat that there's 3.3 billion gamers on the planet, right? 2.8 billion of those, or 90%, are playing on low-end devices. So you're not really reaching, with all this competition, with all the developers have to deal with, whether it be user acquisition costs, whether it be platform fees, whether it be accessibility of their game and what platform it's on, whether it be distribution. I think that, we really make it possible for them for the first time to be able to allow any user with any device into their game. And I think that that's super powerful. And that's what we'd love to do, obviously. And that's why we're working with, GameSwift to really look at, certain titles and then see exactly what we could do and what devices they could be playable on, how they could be accessible, and how we could really kind of get more users into certain types of games.
Yeah, because actually this platform limitation is one of the biggest hurdles for games. For example, Star Heroes can be played on PC,
Yeah.
And to make it available on Mac, it's a pain in the ass, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let alone mobile.
Yeah, I totally agree, and we're doing that with a lot of Web3 game developers. I do think that like there's a reason that casual games and started sticking. But if you think about it, that was really because it was an ease of install and a quick game sessions. And really, this comes around to technology, right? It comes around to how fast you can download something and get into it. And at the end of the day, if a game is built well, there's good onboarding. Users can come in and start playing either with each other, or there's good tutorial. There's not a heavy friction on download install where you're going to lose, on a a minimum probably 50%, 60% of users right there. Then certainly it makes it more open and people can talk about it. And we know that games are viral; they're word of mouth. So if somebody's having a good experience in a community, they'll tell hundreds of other players and people in their community, and that kind of starts to really grow the ecosystems and grow the possibility for monetization. And I think this makes investors excited in the sector again, right? We haven't had really big disruptions. We had free to play, that was a big disruption back in the day, right? And then we had Web3 gaming, which really, there's been a lot of stops and starts, depending on the market and the speculation and the play to earn and the models. But I think the big disruption will really be accessibility. That's a huge disruption when you allow users to enter games quickly, try them out, and play with each other again. And you can hear that in the market. Discoverability is being lost because the app stores are curating all the best games based on what they think we should be looking at. With discoverability, accessibility, and being able to play a game right away on a cool community-based website like a platform or portal like GameSwift or some of these others, I think it makes it just a lot better for the gamer experience. And ultimately, that's what we should be focusing on: the community and the user experience.
Cool, man. And maybe the last question would be: are you actually partnered already with some Web2 companies, gaming studios, or you're mainly focused on Web3 right now?
Jacob, that's a great question. And yes, we are. So I can't really announce or talk about the ones that we are with, but early on we actually come from Web2 gaming. The platform was built around that Web2 cloud gaming. So we are actually working with the largest AAA game studio in the world. I can't say who it is, but I'm sure you can Google whoever that might be. And essentially we are working with them in low-end device markets like LATAM, Southeast Asia, and allowing them to proliferate the market. And also we're working with a lot of a few Web2 studios, I should say, that are looking at different ways of acquiring users. So for example, really trying to get away from the download install and get into instant play. Like, we've done some experimentation where the thesis can be proven out that if you allow a user to play a game right away, you can maybe give them, you can time limit that. So you can say, okay, you can play for an hour today, you can play for, half an hour next week, and then, 15 minutes the week after, and then we'll ask you to download the client. So, this can be a really effective strategy on using cloud infrastructure, especially on the edge, with all sorts of different games, depending on, geographically where the user is located. And we're currently in experimentation with a ton of different, not a ton, but quite a few Web2 use cases where we're trying to disrupt the industry using instant play. So, yes, I think the future is bright. I think that there's a big emphasis in gaming and obviously AI and enterprise within Aether. And we're really excited about the future. The difference obviously between us is that we actually have been working on the technology for quite some time. And that's what makes Aether interesting, because we're ready to onboard games and do strategic partnerships with platforms like GameSwift and others, where we can really start solving these problems in gaming.
Perfect. That sounds really awesome, man. And I have one tricky question, a very good one, actually. Maybe you'd like to take it. Like, does this compete or complement with GeForce AI, the solution that we are working on at GameSwift?
I think it complements. That's a great question. I mean, I think that what I love about this space, especially on the infrastructure side, is that we can partner with anybody, right? Like, there's always going to be a use case. There's always going to be a community that's underserved. There might be a market, like we've been doing. It's like we've been doing with, like I said, the Web2 companies, where we look at different markets like LATAM, Southeast Asia. Like, how are those users playing? So no, I don't even see us competing really with, like, a lot of different companies. I think there's a space. There's quite a lot of space for everybody, but in our case, I think where it becomes interesting is really leveraging the common resources that we have, and then really solving use cases and looking at the problems in the industry. I mean, that's really what it's all about, because this industry is kind of hurting right now. We're seeing a lot of layoffs in gaming. Web3 gaming obviously is kind of, been speculative based on digital assets, etc. But I think when we do these strategic partnerships, we really think through who the partners are, what they bring to the party, so to speak. Here, I think that there's a lot of different common threads. And I think, leadership at GameSwift saw that too. And so I'm so glad that we ended up announcing a little while back, and now we're really starting to think through kind of how we can integrate directly and serve community on both sides. And of course, based on also what you were saying about, the community being able to contribute to infra and really start becoming a part of everything and monetize. At the end of the day, these are innovative models, business models, and these are the things that will also crack the code on certain Web3 business models too. So, when the investors are happy, when community's happy, when we're solving real problems together, I think that's, that creates a great environment for innovation. And that's the most important thing in AI too, allowing cheaper GPU infrastructure to foster and create new experiences and innovation, so that we can continue to contribute to the space.
Yeah, man. And this is what I love about your project, that you're really trying to address the issues of the Web2 market, actually, with cloud gaming. This is something. Somebody's asking why my facial expression is like this. Guys, I was in the mountains hiking for the last 4 days, crossed the whole Tatra Mountains from Slovakia to Poland.
Wow.
And left my energy over there. But I'm also super focused, because as I was saying, it sounds pretty awesome. And I love the projects that really try to disrupt the traditional markets and not only build upon speculation.
Yeah.
Also, man, now I'm a little bit envious about your partnership with GameSwift, because at Star Heroes, we haven't announced any partnership yet. So happy to get down to talks afterwards.
Sure. Yeah. Look, we're here to work with everybody and also help wherever. I mean, what we do see with a lot of Web3 game developers is that they like to experiment with a current community or a platform or a portal where we could see the data and the metrics behind instant play and how people are adopting it. And then sometimes, they come to us directly and say, hey, I want to try this on my website now. Or, my producer tried this and they could play the game on their iPad. And, so there's a lot of good things happening behind the scenes. And when we can and when we do, we announce those. But we've really started focusing on, a lot of problem solving, user acquisition, looking at data metrics, how long people are playing, that kind of thing. So we're more than happy to help all game developers out there make a frictionless experience for users.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul, for being our special guest on GameSwift Townhall. I believe that the partnership between Aethir and GameSwift is just a matter of time. So thank you one more time, and let's keep in touch.
For sure, yeah. Thanks, Wojtek. Thanks, Jakub. And really great to meet you guys, and hope, we can continue to have great conversations like this. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Have a nice one.
It's good to have guests like Paul on our podcast, especially that GameSwift is working on GS AI. We want to take advantage of computing power from powerful gaming machines, while Aethir is working on the infrastructure around computation power as well. So this is making them natural partner, and today interview is not a coincidence. GameSwift is cooperating with best of the best, and Aethir is definitely one of those. Welcome everybody. In the meantime, for those who are late, I know a lot are expecting from me to talk a little bit about the tokenomics. So you need to know that what you can expect in upcoming days, probably starting from early next week or at the end of this week, we'll see, is the GameSwift Tokenomics campaign, where we are going to deeply recover our tokenomics on basing on 3 pillars. The first one is connected with low circulating supply. We want to close the gap between market cap and FDV. We are perfectly aware that this is something which is troubling some of the newcomers. They don't necessarily understand that GameSwift holds on a treasury of 44%, which is locked. So we came to the point where we want to do something with it, especially that we have no plans to make this pool inflationary. Another one is to take care of upcoming seed and team unlocks, which are going right now. According to our statistics, it's not a big deal. However, we have a small surprise for you also with this regard. And the third pillar is called burning. So a lot of emotions are in the pipeline. Please brace yourself. Please wait for the official announcements. Today, I'm just teasing you because I don't want to front run any official announcements. That would be not fair for the crypto traders. However, by watching GameSwift Townhall, you know that something big is coming, that we are cooking something, and we want you to be one step ahead. That's why please be our guest, even though that this is a holiday season. By the way, Kubasku, you've been to Tatra Mountain in Slovakia?
Yeah, exactly. We started on Friday.
Where exactly?
Okay, so the first 2 days we were doing the Slovakian part of the Tatra Mountains. It's more secluded, there's less people and more mountains because Slovakia has, as far as I remember, around 70-something% of them. It was, do you know Štrbské pleso, Popradské pleso, and the eastern part of the Tatras? So if you want, I can give you some advice, but I'm not sure whether you should do the same.
I'm going there tomorrow, to be honest. that's a super. Yeah, I'm taking 2 days holiday starting from tomorrow, and I'm strictly going to Tatra Mountains. This conversation is not set up. We really didn't have time to speak about our personal stuff before going live, so Jacob is probably surprised. But yeah, I'm going there. I'm going to show you the place where I want to go. It's called Pleso something, but I'm not sure whether it's Śledzkie Pleso or some other Pleso.
Yeah, anyways, super beautiful. There are really nice tracks, the difficult ones, easier ones. We also hiked up to Rysy, the highest peak of Poland on the border between both
and
countries.
How is this route to Rysy? Because that's my plan for the second day, and I'm wondering whether I'm gonna make it or
not.
But
you're not going with your wife and what?
No, I'm going with no.
The trail on Rysy or to Rysy from the Slovakian part is quite easy, but then the descent on the Polish side is kind of tricky, so to say. It's steep. There are chains that you have to hold up on. Yeah, it's kind of tricky, you know. And it started raining when we were descending, and that was tricky. There was a fucking thunderstorm, man. We got completely soaked. But the most beautiful thing is that when we got already down to Morskie Oko, which is like the most popular place in the Polish mountains, there was literally no one, man. So we were going down the mountain, and there were waterfalls all around the place, tens of them, you know, because this rain had to fall somehow down to the lakes. So I felt like in Scandinavia, like in Sweden or Norway, if there's anyone from those regions, guys, I love it. It was like being in the fjords. So I'll share all the details with you afterwards.
Yeah, that would be perfect. I'm going to Wielkie Chińcowo Pleso, but I don't know whether it tells you something or not. And for the second day, I plan to go for Rysy. We'll see. But you don't, guys, come here to listen about our trail hikes, but rather about crypto markets. So we are really happy to say that Ethereum ETF is going live today. And there's one more thing, Jacob, which is crazy. And I think it is a good opportunity to speak about it. Have you heard about the guy who predicted like Donald Trump assassination attempt? Have you heard about him? Jacob, is it a poker face or you don't hear me? Okay, guys.
Wait a second, I lost you. I don't know whether it's...
Okay, guys, we need to resolve this problem, and we need to check whether it's the problem is on my side or your side. So please tell me in the comments whether you can hear me, or is it
now we can. We're back, man.
Okay, we are back. Okay. Yeah, I've heard about it. The bald guy in Hawaiian shirt, right? So guys, so Jacob, that's actually something very crazy. Look at this guy. He's having a YouTube channel last days, and literally like a couple of months ago, before the assassination attempt, he made the live or some kind of the interview when he said that basically Donald Trump is going to be under the assassination, but it will not be effective, that the bullet will go right next to his head, very close, that there will be a blood, but the Donald Trump will be alive. And right after, he's going to win a presidential election. And when you think about this, it's pretty crazy, because he predicted this really well. And he predicted, and he gave during this interview one more prediction about the whole financial market, that basically right after that, basically until US presidential elections, we can expect that all the problems around the financial market are going to be on hold, that there is a big team stopping this shit from the disaster. But once Donald will be elected, the shitstorm is going to be started, and he expects a major disaster, a major I don't know how to call it, but kind of something similar to 29 or to Lehman Brothers crisis, somewhere in the winter. He's not sure whether it's going to be this winter or next winter, but he has seen it. And this is actually pretty crazy. So let me know, guys, whether you heard him or not. What do you think about it? I'm usually skeptical, but that's something that we should also have in our mind.
Yeah, on the other hand, imagine how difficult it would be actually to shoot as a sniper in a way that only gives you a little pick on your ear, while Donald Trump is moving his head. Man, it's literally...
That's what but that's why it's pretty... That's why I treat his predictions crazy, because he predicted that the sniper will shoot close but not close enough, right? And that there will be blood, but Donald Trump will be alive. So it's kind of crazy. And I want to make it somewhere publicly, but I'm going to one more time give my prediction about the crypto market, and I'm just curious whether it's going to be working or not. So basically, my prediction is that, and that's obviously not a financial advice, that we are somewhere in the bottom territory in the crypto market, that August will be very bullish for the crypto market, because I believe that the Donald Trump is kind of the agenda for the big tech companies, for Wall Street. It is basically their bet for the crypto market, because Donald Trump is going soon to be a speaker at the Bitcoin conference. JD Vance, his vice president, is the active holder of Bitcoin. He's holding 250K worth of Bitcoin tokens. So obviously they want to provide crypto-friendly regulation in the US. So I believe that we are somewhere in the bottom territory, where we can expect a major rise in August, maybe even in September, until the elections. That's the time where I expect a major correction. That's the time where I expect that basically will be subject to some local correction. I don't know how deep, but I think that this will be kind of the sell the news. And my prediction for the top is that it's going to happen somewhere in winter next year. My prediction is that it's going to happen around the February this year. I'm really curious whether it's going to happen or not, but it is based on the, let's say, previous movements, when, for example, the Bitcoin crossed the previous all-time high. So when it crossed 20K, it took somewhere around 342 days to reach the all-time high, and it does have a sense when you think about it, because usually when Bitcoin is crossing some very important territory, some resistance, and 20K, that was the all-time high, and that was the resistance from the previous bull market. It is usually the time where all the magazines, all the newspapers, everybody is talking about Bitcoin, right? So obviously this information is distributed over the people. We are creating the bubble, and after some time we reach the peak of the bubble. And my observation is it is usually a very similar time between crossing this historical resistance and reaching the all-time high. In the previous cycle, it took 300 and some around 330 days. And when you take a look at this in the previous cycle, it is also very similar. Take a look at the January 2017. That was the time when Bitcoin crossed the $1,000 for the first time. It was the time, I remember this, when I heard about the Bitcoin for the first time. Everybody started to say that, oh my God, it crossed $1,000. Some people could buy it for pennies, and now it's $1,000. And obviously, this information have been distributed over the people. The bubble has created, and it peaked after 349 days, when Bitcoin reached the almost nearly 20K, right? So one more time, very similar time zone, right? 349 days. So my expectation, and that's my prediction, is that once we crossed the resistance from the previous all-time high, which was around 69K. And when you take a look at the chart, the first time when we crossed it was somewhere in March this year. In my opinion, that's a pivotal news. That's the time where everybody start talking about crypto again, especially that we had the Bitcoin ETF going live, and that's another pivotal news. And if we calculate 349 days from that time, we can expect. Let me check that. We can expect 330. Yeah, 340 is around February next year, right? So that's why that's how I think about the crypto market. I wanted to have it live because this is a memory for me. I want to check once this bull market cycle will be finished whether I was right or not. I want to upgrade my analysis day by day. So I think this will be, and maybe for some of you, this will be helpful.
And what are the factors actually that could reverse this cycle? Because we're basing our predictions on what happened, but maybe something has changed. Like we have the elections upcoming, we have ETFs, we have regulations. Do you think that it can affect this trend, cycle, scheme?
Yeah, one more time, because I started to read the comments because I was really curious, and I see that some people are also commenting. Yeah, $10 is fat. Thank you, Jigsaw, for in BlockX. Let's hope that you are right. But coming back to your question, Jacob, can you?
Yeah, basically, how sure can we be that actually the story repeats itself? Because there are new factors.
I like to say that history does not repeat, but it likes to rhyme, right? And it is a truth in this sentence. That's why I'm not necessarily like relying on the exact price where Bitcoin is going to be, because in my opinion, we see some analogies in the previous market cycles, but for me it's really hard to predict where exactly Bitcoin will go, whether it will be 100k or 120. There's not a single person in the world that I trust his analysis with this regard, because in my opinion nobody knows about it. But in my opinion, what is consistent in crypto charts territory is the time zone. When you check the previous cycles, when you see how long it took from the from the bear market to the bull market, it is usually a very similar time, and it does also make a sense from the logical point of view. When you hear about something bullish, you are the first, then you speak about this to your friend, then your friend speaks to your family, then there is kind of the bubble creating, right? And after some time it is bursting. It's a peak of the bull market. So that's why I feel pretty confident about the scenario that you need nearly 1 year from a very important moment where everybody start to speak about some certain asset to reach the bubble, especially that it has the merit in the previous market cycle. We'll see. That's not financial advice for sure. However, I will probably act accordingly. And when you think about these last days, his prophecy, he's also mentioning about the winter, that the winter is coming and it's going to be disaster. And you might be laughing. I'm also laughing, but we are just crypto investors. We need to also take in consideration these crazy things like that. And this is another argument that maybe winter next year is the moment to cash out. We'll see.
The winter next year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Might be so. We got some questions, but actually we still haven't done our agenda to the very end, meaning that you spoke about the future for the GameSwift Tokenomics and possible
Arthur Juszczyk is asking about the Pasha. So, like, to kindly remind you, the cooperation between Pasha and Star Heroes is not about the Star Heroes token to pump it. So obviously, we don't want any public figure, especially very highly reputed like Pasha, to be engaged in the token investment process. We don't want anyone to pump, because that would put them in a very uncomfortable situation. Our deal, our cooperation is based on the esport level, where Star Heroes is one of the games during Pasha Gaming Camp to play. So the fact that he's not mentioning about Star Token is having nothing to do with what you said. Arthur Uzbek also having, unfortunately, Uzbek is also is there a valid issue in which one of the teams are going for people? Is there still a valid issue in which one of the team's arguments for encouraging people to use GSPay was that all tokens from airdrops will be immediately available for GSPay without vesting? Worst creating staking, is it possible to change the bonding time to the much shorter one if your assumption for GSPay have not been met on your side? To much shorter one if your assumption. So we don't plan to change anything in case of the unbonding period in GSPay. It's also not the case that none of the airdrops have been not distributed. We've already distributed both Sparta decks and Star Heroes to the GSPay stakers. So we also delivered GSPay stakers with 2 exclusive deals. They are right after offered on a special Discord channel where all GSPay stakers have been invited to. So if you are still not there, Arthur, please be our guest. We also kept the promise in terms of the higher APY, because every single GSPay staker have higher APY on staking. Obviously, the part which is not necessarily delivered is that some of the airdrops that have been announced are still not distributed, but the announcement is that they are not cancelled, but they are postponed due to the negative market sentiment. So that's why I feel that the promise is kept. And it's pretty obvious that we don't want to distribute or those projects, because it's not on our side. Please bear in mind that any airdrop coming to GSPay stakers is from the external teams, and they didn't decide to cancel the airdrop to GSWIFT stakers. They simply decided to postpone their token listing because they don't feel comfortable with the bearish market conditions. So I think that's pretty obvious that the promise is kept. For GSPay, keep the bonding period, but can you make it available to unlock only some, not all coins? I don't feel that this would be making any significant change. I don't see why we would be I don't see why we should make any adjustment with this regard. Especially that would arise a lot of questions: how much of the how much tokens we should make available. No, I'm not going to allow for this kind of speculation. Okay, guys, I think we also answered some questions which have been tough. We are not skipping any trouble questions, any troublemakers. One more question from Fly75. Would GSWIFT burn fees on once mainnet is live to become deflationary? GSWIFT burn fees once mainnet is live. GSWIFT burn fees once mainnet is live to become deflation. Will GSWIFT burn fees once mainnet is live to become deflationary? That's actually something which is on the table. That's something that we can definitely consider. Fly75. Thanks for mentioning this. I'm gonna be 100% honest. We didn't consider this before, but we will definitely consider this as this has a merit. Why you are not worried about token holders who bought in Hicks? No, I didn't say that I'm not worried about anything. When will mainnet launch? The mainnet is coming definitely this year. We want to basically, from the technical point of view, mainnet is ready. We want to make it happen in the best possible market conditions, and that's something that we are waiting for. At the same time, testnet is a perfect opportunity to battle test. We generated the hell out of transactions. It looks like the chain is ready, so we are just waiting for the bullish market conditions, and I would be happy to make it happen when the pump will be back. My expectation is for August, but we'll see. Perfect, guys. I think we are coming to the end. Lol, Pan taking ideas from comment. Lol. Yeah, Adi, I don't know how many GSWIFT episodes, GameSwift Townhall episodes have you watched. I think a lot, because I see you very often in the comment sections. But I really like to basically find and grab the ideas from the community. Jacob, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah, with the tough question, we said we are addressing them, and I've seen some questions about Star Heroes, of course. The last one is, what is the idea for Star Heroes now when rewards for players were so unprofitable in Season 1? Just to remind you how profitable they were actually in the beta season just before. Guys, we have some strong aces. First of all, we have fantastic game, and a lot of new ideas are being implemented to make it more engaging, to also avoid repeating the mistakes of the first season. So we really collected and did our research well and collected your feedback. That's one thing. The second thing is that we still have the biggest tournament and with one of the highest prize pools. And currently we are focusing on these, actually on 3 aspects. The first one is on preparing Season 2 well. As for the rewards, I will not sneak peek anything right now, because it makes part of a bigger story, bigger picture. Second thing is this tournament. Here I could reveal that we are really focusing on targeting the regions that we didn't reach out to yet. So one of accusations that we had from the community was that we didn't go international enough, and this is our main focus right now. Maybe it would be a separate tournaments for each of the regions. Imagine one tournament in Asia, in the US, in Brazil. So that's another thing. Plus, we are really picky with the partnerships right now, so that we make sure that the new users come. And together with a better market sentiment, I'm pretty sure we'll be back. So we are working hard in the background, of course. I'm saying we will be back, that's for sure, because this is like the biggest like what you call it in English, the thing that distinguishes us from the distinctive factor in the Web3 market. There is no other game that has this amount that is safe and secure for the purpose of, you could call it marketing, but we call it something bigger. The decentralized tournament. This is an event that makes us special. Plus, there is a narrative that Pan is sharing.
That's also very important to mention, right? So that's a very important factor. And I see also questions about the buyback and burn, and when the burning. So please bear in mind that we created a special dashboard for that. There is a whole play to burn narrative. You can see how many tokens have been burned last week, and since
there's a mistake in terms of the total burn. I don't know. I think that they are updating
Yeah.
it right now because it's literally zero, guys. It's been over 40 million star that's been burned so far, which makes up for
Yeah, it's obviously the mistake,
5.7%.
since you can see how much has been burned last week, and this is only the matter of time. Once the second season will go live, the more people are playing, the more star will be burned. And I see what Arthur, I've already you say thank for your answers, so I'm going to return the favor and answer your last question. Is it still a valid issue in which one of the team's arguments for encouraging people was that all tokens from airdrops will be immediately available for GSWIFT, or has it already changed? So as far as I'm concerned, there's not we don't plan any change in terms of the airdrops. The plan from the very beginning is that once we distribute airdrop for GSWIFT stakers, it is not vested, but it is available immediately. Obviously, this might be subject to changes if, for example, the team X, I'm not saying about any specific, but the given team ask us for a favor that they want it to be distributed over some period of time, but we don't have any plans to make it subject to the change. So like, for example, it was the case with Star Heroes airdrop, it was available for GSWIFT stakers immediately. And I like the comment from Block, as GSWIFT stakers are pre-rich. But that's some of them might be actually also rich if they, for example, took their profit from the 2 airdrops that we have already distributed. Watches DAO allocation going to burn? Yes, Watches DAO allocation is going to be freaking burnt, Adi. We don't forget about it. The way how it works is that the Watches DAO is distributed to play to burn category for Star Heroes, and it is burned on the weekly basis. That's all for now, guys. Thank you, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah.